presence here should let you know that I am not against change. And let us assume that this is the most amazing idea in retail since buy one, get one free. I still don't understand why we have to throw out the baby with the water. Can't I keep what I have and just build on it?
Pleasure to finally meet you.
I hope you two know what you're doing. This place reminds me of a czarist ministry. No matter what the decision, you don't feel it was yours.
Fortunately, I have no idea what you're talking about.
He's very good. Persuasive.
Yes.
A little dashing for my taste.
At the nursing home, multiple victims with hypothermia and dehydration, another 5 coming in the van.
Yeah, he turned our place into Kentucky Fried Old Folks.
How you doing, sir?
I did not survive a pogrom, a gulag, and a bris in a back alley just so I could be baked like a strudel. The engineers are selling off the energy to the highest bidder, just like they did in California. You know who's getting it all? The Packies.
Say hip.
Hey, where'd they put my buddy?
Mr. Perkins?
Hey, don't do that. What are you doing to him?
Neck stiff. Are we missing meningitis?
Stiff all over. Increased muscle tone.
Let's go. Trauma 2. Blood cultures, 2 milligrams ceftriaxone. Let's get a head.
Stop it, you. You're not a real doctor. I want a real doctor. You're some stuffed up quack.
Calm down.
He's gonna be all right, right?
Mr. Perkins have any new pills at the home?
They're always giving us pills. If you can't poop, they give you a pill. You complain about the government, you get a pill.
Can you be more specific?
Try to get people to vote for Obama, they got a pill for that too.
Poppy, listen. Did they give JJ anything today?
He got feisty because it was so hot in there.
Does this look familiar? How about this?
Maybe this, it was yellow.
Bingo. Haloperidol. You'll have your roommate back tomorrow.
He doesn't trust lawyers, accountants, anybody with a degree. But he appreciates what you did.
Hey. As doctors go, you seem to be a pretty decent one. So, thanks.
Welcome to Buzz Talk Live. My guest tonight is famed master acting teacher, director, and legendary character actor Allan Miller. Now, Allan is an actor, and he acted in over 200 film and television productions and over a dozen plays. Mr. Miller was an artistic director of the Back Alley Theater for 10 years, receiving the LADCC Margaret Harford Award for Distinguished Achievement, and directing over a dozen productions. And as a master acting teacher, privately and at the famed Actors Studio, to which he's a lifetime member, some of his well-known students include Barbra Streisand, Dustin Hoffman, Meryl Streep, just to name a few. He has also taught at the Yale School of Drama, New York University MFA program, the Focus Theatre in Dublin, and in the International Actors Group in Rome, Italy. And author of A Passion for Acting and The Craft of Acting Auditioning on DVD. A member of the Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, had served on the board of directors of the Screen Actors Guild, and has studied with the Lee Strasberg at Actors Studio. So please welcome Allan Miller to Buzz Talk Live. How you doing, Allan?
Pretty good. You got me in some tough roles there to start with.
I tell you, my open to you, I could just keep on going and going and going. You've had such a rich history of being in film and TV, and it's incredible what you've achieved in your life. And I just want to kind of bring you in tonight and thank you for taking me up on it. I really appreciate you joining Buzz Talk Live. Where do I begin with you, my friend? Because you had such a I don't know. You've been in like everything. In the 70s, you've been on all the famous TV shows. You know, we could go on and on and on. I mean, you know, Kozak.
George,
I
yes,
mean,
yes.
I
Let me
don't-
just interject.
I don't have an hour.
I'm one of the very few actors who's actually made a living for 60 years in
There
the
you go.
profession.
There you go. Congratulations.
There you go. That's a
Congratulations.
huge accomplishment for an actor.
It is. It is. It really is. You know, I mean, especially now. I mean, with the pandemic and everything, you know, people are it disrupts a lot of livelihoods of actors. You know, I mean, where are all the theater actors right now? Do you know? What are they doing?
But they're trying to make projects. Most of them are trying to instigate some kind of project. Like,
Is it-
you know, I teach acting now on Zoom.
Right.
Other people are making projects on Zoom, and they're trying. Most people I know have not given up trying to make contact with fellow actors to put on a show
Yeah.
somehow.
And you had a pivot too, because I mean, well, you want to even go there? I mean, you're I think did you have a birthday not too long ago?
Yes, you want to know what age it was? It was 92, for God's sake.
God
and I'm
bless you.
still moving around.
God bless you.
I have an acting class on Zoom that has over 165 participants.
There you go. Keep going, my friend. Keep
Most
going.
stay hidden, but
Yeah.
there you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have to keep going at it, because if you don't, you wouldn't know what to do with yourself. And you know what we're in right now. It's really hard. So I think it's you know, you're keeping your craft up. You're teaching, which is awesome. But you know, just going back to you know, some of the TV shows that you were in, you know, Murder, She Wrote with Angela Lansbury, you know, working with her.
Yeah, I did 4 of them.
I
I did 4 of those.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
And,
Yeah, Angela, when she liked somebody,
Yeah.
she put them on a little private talent list, and each season she'd have them back to do a different part. That was the good thing about series in those days.
Yeah.
The guest stars had all the plum parts.
Mm.
The regulars were sort of just doing good, but and it was always a different character she called you back for.
Now,
And the same was true with all the series that I did. You could come back within the next year and do a different part. Nowadays, you can't do that. All the shows have restricted that it's like once every 5 seasons you can appear.
right. That's interesting. Back in the 70s, I mean, you were basically a character actor throughout your time, or up to this time, or
Yep.
basically a character.
I mean,
So-
my first job on Kozak out here. I was
Kozak.
from New York. I came
Telly
out here
Savalas.
because of a family personal
Right.
thing.
Right.
And I thought I could work out here because I was working in New York off Broadway and soaps and stuff.
Right.
And I couldn't get arrested. I had a friend who was trying to be my agent out here. Literally, I had my little video and nobody would look at it. And then one day I got a call to go in and see the head of casting for Kozak. Kozak, you may remember, is the bald-headed guy who sucked lollipops.
Telly Savalas.
And, you know, a cop and robber show.
Right.
And I came in, and the head of casting for that show, Milt Hammerman, was an ex-New Yorker. And he was just trying to make me very at ease. He was talking about the Yankees and Brooklyn, and da-da-da. And all of a sudden, I thought in my head, how am I going to get a job on Kozak by being a nice guy? Which is what I was used to doing, comedy roles and stuff. And so I thought, I better do something to help him see me in a different light. And right in the middle of a nice accolade thing he was saying to me,
I put on my old Brooklyn "don't fuck around with me" accent, slid down in my chair, and I said, "You big fat fuck, is this how you get your rocks off?" And his eyes blazed open like this. And I said, "You bring in new guys from New York, cheap, and that, and it makes you." And I started yelling at him, and I smashed my fist down on the desk in front of him. He jumped back in his chair, and I took a minute, I shrugged, and I said, "I'm sorry, but you've never seen me act." And he said, "Whoa, whoa, 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 sit down. Oh, wait a minute, sit down. Whoa, boy, you really got me. There's a part in next week's episode." And I said, "Really?" He said, "Well, I would never have thought of you for this part if you hadn't done that.
Yeah.
But let me think about it. And I assure you, you're going to work on this show before the season's over because you did that good." But I did get that part of a hitman in a Kozak show, which I've never played in my life before. My fist isn't even big enough to look like a hitman, but that's what they got me.
You nailed it. You nailed it.
My Universal started shooting in one bad guy role after another. I did like 5 in a row. And then I got in a play and did a comedy role, and then comedy started. Anyway, that's how I got my first job as a professional in LA.
Wow. That's amazing. I mean, back in that time in the 70s, I often wonder, it was like a breathing ground for character actors because of the time period.
Yeah.
Do you feel that way? Because you experienced that, and now you see what's now, the characters that are playing roles now in film and TV.
But George, as I just told you, in those days, the guest star had the best role.
Big guest star had the best role.
So character actors could go from role to role to role to role to role. Now it's all about the lives of the series regulars.
Yeah.
And it's strained sometimes to give something more adventurous to participate in. Mm-hmm. And the guests are sort of minor. So it's a reversal of casting actors.
Interesting.
That's all.
No, that's awesome. At what time did you become part of the Actors Studio? Was it later on in
1953?
1953?
In New York.
Really?
Yeah, in New York, not out here. Yes,
So
1953 is when I got in the studio.
So your time at the Actors Studio, you studied with Lee Strasberg? With Lee?
He was the only teacher, regular teacher at the studio at that time. But we had guest stars. We had fencing teachers. We had Tai Chi Chuan teachers. We had fan thing teachers. It was a hotbed of adventure and experiment with different things.
Yeah.
And I went to every goddamn one of those classes because I just felt like eating it up.
Right. Not so you can describe to the people that might be watching that don't understand the difference between the Actors Studio and inside the Actors Studio, which is on, I think it was PBS or. There's a difference. The Actors Studio. Describe what the Actors Studio is in itself. The difference.
I just did. I tried to. I said it was a place for experimenting, adventuring, using yourself, acting an animal. And in those days, Elia Kazan, who was one of the founders of the Actors Studio, would bring in something he was thinking of producing on Broadway for us all to see the early stages. And it was fascinating.
Yeah.
He was one of the major directors of our time who would bring in a part of a project he was working on for the you can't call them students. They were working actors, a lot of them in the Actors Studio. Yeah. But to share his ideas and his dilemmas with fellow members of the studio was fascinating.
Yeah.
He did a trilogy of Greek plays where he had some actors being bushes. Some actors were animals. Some actors were people. It was fabulous.
How do you study up to be a
I
tree?
directed a scene where I had a sheet between the two actors. I said, act the scene with your feet. You know, you remember Charlie Chaplin in that movie, The Gold Rush, where he danced with some potatoes? I remember that, and I thought, well, why don't I try something like that here? This is the place to do it.
Yeah.
So I hung a sheet and asked the two actors, we worked on the scene, on the material. I said, now try to do it with your feet. It was fascinating. Everybody, it didn't lead to anything, but it was a very, very interesting, fascinating, creative act. That was going on all over the place there.
We have
you could hardly book a rehearsal space because people were always using it.
We have a chat from somebody that's watching saying that you're a living legend.
Wow! Thank you.
What do you like today? Is there anything worth reading?
My book and several other books on acting, yes. But in terms of regular books, I'm very eclectic. I'm reading a book right now called My Dark Vanessa. That's a young woman going through the experiences we're all reading about today, but beautifully written, and I'm very taken with it, even though I'm a guy. And I just finished a book by James Lee Burke, who's a wonderful mystery writer and a country western writer, has gotten awards. So I'm somebody mentions a book and I say, oh, that sounds interesting, and I'm very eclectic.
So in around your time with jumping from, was it like jumping from role to role with these TV shows that you were part of back then, or was it like you were trying to latch on?
You betcha.
You were making a living.
Was it what?
What I'm saying is you were trying to make a living at it. You're a young actor on the scene, but you know, studying with Lee, he is like, you know, the king, or there is a Russian guy.
Yeah, but arguing with Lee was one of my big things. He loved when I argued with him. Like one time I did a drunk scene, and I'm not a drinker, so it was not very good. And at the end of it, he asked my wife, who was sitting near him, looked like his daughter, and he said, does he drink? Meaning me. And she said, oh, no. And Lee immediately said, well, he should. That's the way he left it. So on the way home, I bought a bottle of cheap bourbon. I sat in the living room, and I drank, and I passed out. It turns out I have no tolerance for liquor. That's why I don't drink. Okay?
Yeah.
So I thought, well, what do I do as a non-drinker to do this scene about a drinker? So I tried to think of every kind of behavior I've been through that's something like getting drunk. And I remembered giving blood at the Red Cross. When you give a pint of blood there, you come out of it kind of woozy, and you're alive, but you're sort of fuzzy with things. Felt kind of drunk. I thought, let me try using that in a rehearsal. I did, and it felt very, very good. And then I thought, wait a minute, this guy's really drunk. So I thought, what would happen if I accidentally took out 3 pints of blood from me instead of 1? That did it. And I brought the scene in. And as soon as the scene was over, Lee jumped forward in his chair and he said, now he knows how to drink. And I yelled back and I said, no, now I know how to give blood. And he said, even better.
Wow.
So that kind of thing, because he was the one who first got me a job teaching. He regularly liked my comments. He would encourage me and a few other people there to speak up regularly.
Right.
And then he got me my first job as a teacher at the dramatic workshop.
Wow.
But he loved he loved arguments that were logical.
So in my open, I shouted out a couple of names there, which are legendary actors right now. You know, you have Barbra Streisand and Dustin Hoffman, and I mean, I have here. I think it was Lily Tomlin. Peter Boyle.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
all these
She
people
studied with me 2 years.
So these people studied with you at the Actors Studio. Were you teaching
No,
there
no,
primarily?
private classes.
Private.
Yeah. I taught for a theater group, and then I got my own private classes, which continued to this day.
Wow.
I'm still teaching on Zoom.
Wow. That's awesome. I know you have a story. You have a story on Barbra Streisand. And I know it's a saga.
No one story. I don't have a story.
Well,
I have a saga.
You have a saga.
Saga.
So let me just tease the saga here. So you were born in Brooklyn, and she was born in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And you
different
knew her,
sections. Totally different sections of Brooklyn.
But you knew her when she wasn't anybody. She wasn't even a singer, right?
Nothing. She didn't know the first thing about acting when I met her, but she wanted to be an actress. She was 15 years old. She was working in a Chinese restaurant as a cashier to help make a living for herself and her mother and family. And my wife was working in an off-Broadway theater where Barbara was an apprentice. And my wife regularly would say, Alan, please talk to this young girl. She's so hungry for information. I said, she's how old? And my wife said, 15. I said, no, I am not going to encourage a 15-year-old girl to go into the theater. I'm not doing that.
Right.
And then guess who was invited to dinner a few weeks later? Her,
right.
And there was something about this girl. The curiosity, the innocence, the availability was striking. She just was something. And then after dinner, they had prepared an audition for me. She was going to audition for me to get into my class. It was the worst single audition I've ever seen in my life, insofar as she didn't know anything that was right to do. Her arms were going this way while her feelings were going that way, and like a baby. She was literally like a 15-year-old innocent baby, hungry for information. I was so taken with that force in her that I gave her a scholarship to one of my classes, and in no time she was coming to all of them. And then she began living with us.
Really?
To help out. We asked if she'd like to stay with us and be our babysitter. She used to walk my kid to the park. We lived near Central Park.
Wow.
And I had no idea she could sing. None. Until she called up one day when she'd moved out and lived somewhere else. And she was coming to all my classes at that time and said, I just won an audition. You want to come see me? And I said, of course. Wow, where? And I said, and what did you sing? What scene did you do?
Right.
And she said, no. I acted. I sang. I didn't act. I said, you sang? I yelled from my wife and I said, Laura, Barbara won a singing contest. She said, what? Neither one of us had any idea. Wow. We went to this little coffee shop where she had won the audition. A couple of nights later, and we were dazzled. The whole place was humming. A lot of gay guys had heard about this girl and packed the place because she dressed it crazy. Not transgender, just crazy.
Right. Just crazy.
The shoulders didn't fit with the waist, and the waist, it just...
Oh, my God.
And we both held hands with each other and hoped she wouldn't be too bad. Her voice was just thrilling.
Wow.
And we had a front seat table. I jumped up. I grabbed her after the first number. And I said, I'm so sorry. I have my own career. I would manage you. It was terrific. It was just
that's awesome.
Full-blown terrific.
What a great story.
Yeah,
I mean,
so that's just the beginning of a saga to opening night in Funny Girl.
Funny Girl. Wow.
She worked on that part a lot out of town, and I was directing her off camera, so to speak.
Yeah. You still
and I
keep
learned.
in contact
I had to make up so many things, invent so many things for her, because she didn't read books. She didn't study anything. And
wow,
it was like right off the chest, huh?
Yeah, I said that was
it was
then
thrilling.
That was then. But do you keep in contact with her, Allan, today? Or?
Not anymore, no. Although there was a big article about her in the Sunday Times, New York Times, in December, I think it was, where she called, they referred to me as her renowned acting teacher. I was the only acting teacher she had.
Okay.
Renowned
is good.
But I've seen her in between, but not familiarly.
Look, I mean, with all the heavy hitters that you've been, Dustin Hoffman, just they were kids. They were kids basically at the time, in their
20s, early 20s. She was 15, as I said. Dustin was in his early 20s. He studied for about 2 years. Lily Tomlin was with me about 2 years. Wow. Meryl Streep, I coached at Yale University. I didn't teach her, but I helped coach her in a project she was working on.
She's fabulous. Yeah. I mean, my God.
Diane Wiest is still doing wonderful work. Yeah. She was with me a good while. Yeah. Plenty, but there were plenty of actors you've not heard of.
No.
I think had a good time studying with me.
No, and what you're doing now, I mean, you're keeping it going with your Zoom classes, and I have some books here that
George
that you peddle out there, right, for people to use as tools for their acting.
I have a book. I at the early part of the pandemic, when actors had no work, I've been teaching right up to that. And I thought, the Zoom thing might be interesting.
Yeah.
So I have offered a free acting class on Zoom, which I now have over 165 people from all over the world, some of them, studying with me. And I must say that the Zoom thing has given me an insight I never had before, which is that I can see into the actor's eyes. In a regular acting class, they were 20 feet away from me, and I always watched their behavior, but I never could see into their eyes while they were working.
Interesting.
And that's exciting.
But it's kind of limited, though, isn't it? Isn't it limited because the actor has to be in front? I said it's limited because the actor has to be in front of their computer or a camera, and they have to act while they're sitting down primarily. No. Don't you think?
Yeah, but some are very inventive about moving around, and I help suggest things. But isn't that television a lot of the time? Especially on soaps. Nobody moves around very much. You're head.
Yeah.
It's not that unfamiliar.
Right.
And actors have to now deliver their own selfie Zoom things that they produce for themselves to send in to be cast. You don't go in person anymore.
Right. No,
and in person, you could adapt. In person, you could catch something from the producers and shift what you're doing. Or the producers could get interested in you and suggest something you do. And if you did it really well, you could get the part.
What the person that's texting right now, chatting, is saying it. It's powerful that what you're saying, and you see into their soul. I guess with the with the Zoom,
that's what I'm suggesting.
Yeah,
I can see motivation, thought, remembrance in the eyes now, and it's pretty thrilling to be able to say that.
What do you think is the biggest mistake all actors do when they're auditioning for a role? What do you think?
It's not a mistake. It's a cover-up. 9,500, I've seen over 10,000 auditions already in my life in all my capacities. And I have to say 9,500 were awful from terror and tension. The tension of having to audition takes over the instrument of the person doing it, and they fight it instead of giving into it. When somebody jumps from a parachute, when somebody jumps and the ground is coming up like this, they're taught to hit the ground and roll with that energy so they don't break their bones. And people have actually lived 1,200 feet descent. The parachute broke, and they still landed and did that thing and came out alive.
Right.
Actors try not to look wrong or foolish. They want to look confident, even if the part is not about confidence. They want to look confident as the actor who's going in, and tension comes up to prevent all the live things that start happening. Why do you go on a roller coaster in life, George? Why do people pay money to get scared?
They want to
get
feel
terrified.
That thrill. They want to feel that thrill. They want to feel it in their gut.
They want to feel the thrill, and they want to be able to scream about it.
Right.
But when that same frenzied feeling of scaredness starts hitting an actor, they don't know what to do with the energy. So
Right,
they hold it, they stifle it, and their bodies tense up, and they can't respond at the moment like a human person. That to me is the biggest. That's why I put out my videotape called Auditioning, the DVD. That's actual actors auditioning for a play I was directing.
Right.
And it has every wrong thing that actors do at auditions in it. And the main reason is from terror and tension. But tension is good. A boxer needs tension to give that force.
Right.
You got to relax in between them.
Right, but isn't there an exercise that all actors do before they either go on stage or in front of the camera when their scene is ready, or isn't there an exercise?
You mean a formula, a golden formula for everybody? No. I know actors who walk around the block for 10 minutes before they come into the studio to do the scene. I know people who have to throw up before they perform. I know people have to go in a zig and then a zag and a zig and a zag for 3 minutes before they come on. Everybody has looked for some sort of magic thing. It's breathing and admitting. Breathing and admitting. So your whole being comes out there. What piece of material have you ever heard about where the lead is not in trouble? Except for James Bond. James Bond doesn't usually get into trouble.
No, he gets in
once
trouble.
in a while. Yeah, but everybody knows he's fiction. But every major piece of literature and plays is about people having big troubles in their lives.
Yeah.
So what keeps actors not admitting the troubles in their lives?
That's right.
I mean, that's how the method came about in the first place. Admitting
someone is a budding director that is, they're saying, give me wisdom as a budding director. How do I approach talent during the scene?
I say as a director, I said, how you doing today? How's your heart? How's your heartbeat? How's your breathing? I don't go into social. I ask about their bodies. How do they feel right now? I said, I don't mean about life. I mean about, how do you feel? You feel jumpy? I try to get them to admit the palpitations that are going on so they can open those up into their performance and they become more human.
Yeah.
There's not a thing you can go through that you would call a mix-up in what you're doing that couldn't be valuable for the part you're playing. That's what I mean by saying there's no perfectly satisfied character written.
Right, exactly.
But people won't let in their own dilemmas. When you say you feel anxious, how do you know you're anxious?
Your heart palpitates.
Your body tells you.
Yeah,
your body, yes, you feel. And when you're feeling ecstatic, how do you know you're feeling ecstatic? The way your body feels, whoosh, whoosh, oh, right? So the body comes first. Most actors have not been taught that. The head. What's the motivation? What do you think the character's trying to do? I have no fucking idea at the beginning what the character's trying to do. I don't even know how the character walks, for God's sake. So very quickly, I start focusing in on the physical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to just touch on that, piggyback off of what you just said about, finding that right person. Natural talent. When someone comes to you, how do you know that they have natural talent to become an actor? Is it their passion? Is it their perseverance? What you're looking into their soul. And
what did I just describe
I know
about
their
Streisand?
body, about
Streisand. I'm saying what was going on in her that I had no idea she had talent.
Yeah.
I knew I could teach her about good acting, but I didn't know she had a talent for singing.
Right.
I didn't have any idea, my wife and I, for months about that. When I saw Meryl, okay, let's go with Meryl Streep for a minute at Yale University, right? Her nickname on the faculty was the Iceberg, the Ice Princess. She was unvulnerable. She was brilliant. Her thinking about the character was the best I'd ever seen in such a young person. It was wonderful. Wow. She could act the idea of what she was making up for the character brilliantly. But one time when I was trying to get her past this Ice Princess image in a rehearsal, and she really liked improvising. So we're improvising on a scene from a Garcia Lorca play, and she was getting very into it and very feeling about it. Mm-hmm. And at a certain point, I said another thing to her personally, which made her almost cry. Instead of crying, she tensed up like a robot and furiously turned away from me. And I said, Meryl, look at me. Look at me. Come on. She turned around. Her eyes were raging at me. Her body was as stiff as a board, and she yelled and ran out of the room.
Wow.
Now, how do you define the difference between the talent this woman had and the way she behaved with it? It was a bitch. It was a real bitch to get her to become vulnerable, which she did. She learned she had to be. And she practiced being vulnerable. You bet your life. Yeah. But at a certain point, you couldn't tell how far the word talent means nothing. It's how willing, how open you are to suggestion about this kind of part, that kind of part. And all of it starts with behavior. How do you behave for this role that's different than that role?
As an actor or someone trying to become an actor or the craft and as a teacher, past experience for a person, does that play a role in becoming a good actor? As far as their past.
That's the method, George. You're back on the method. Personal experience is everything.
Method is everything
in method acting. Yeah. Huh? You didn't know you knew that? Well, I mean, in the days of the Greek theater, way before anything modern.
Typecast?
What?
Does method actors become typecast in certain roles? I mean,
you broke up, George. You broke up. Say it again, please.
I said in method acting. Do they become typecast? Later in their roles as they act.
Well, that's the producers and directors and other people saying, hey, she's good in that one. Let's do her again in this one. Let's do her again in that one. And the actors have to break free of that one way or another to become more character actors. But we were talking about the method just now.
Yeah.
Method acting insists that everybody's life contains everything necessary in any role. We're human. We have to find it. Didn't I say like with the drunk?
Yes.
I had to find something that affected me, like the character in the scene, and I came up with giving blood because I had experience with that. I could duplicate it. I could repeat it for myself with sensory memories. We study stuff like that.
Right.
You know, what is the taste of an apple, the smell of an apple, you know, the shininess, the smoothness of an apple. We go over these, but every human being, by the time they're 15, has every kind of experience imaginable already in that huge holding brain of ours. We have to tap into it every once in a while to get a result in us that's like the part.
In the
When
movie,
do you think an actor, George, do you think that you can have the thoughts of another human being all the time?
no.
For a time? No. So how can actors become the characters
Well,
and think what they don't? They can't,
No.
but actors try to.
yes, but it's a term that's thrown around. He's become that person, and it's not true. De Niro in Raging Bull.
Yes.
Jake
You
LaMotta,
bet your life.
he was off the charts in
Yeah.
that movie.
He doesn't become the character. He behaves like the character.
Right.
Emotionally, physically, psychically, whatever way you want. That's right.
Yeah.
That's method acting.
Yes.
It used to be in some of the 1800s, actors would perform their parts. Perform it. With big gestures, they're performing the part. They're not trying to be the part. Came Stanislavski.
Right.
What?
No, I was gonna
And then came
talk to you about how did method acting become method acting? Who was that first person who developed the method?
Stanislavski developed the method. It existed before him, okay? But Stanislavski would see an actor do a magical thing on stage and find a way to go to talk to the actor and ask him, how'd you do that? And it would be women, men, this part, that part. And he'd start to put together a whole bookload of how different actors were able to achieve different kind of effects on stage, invariably from their own personal experience and their own personal imagination. Yeah.
Did Strasberg?
There's a famous. I'll give you a sequence that Al Pacino used in one of the Godfather movies. Okay, they were at a point where, as the head of the mafia group, his granddaughter is machine gunned.
Yes.
If he reveals how weak emotionally he is about that, his guys are liable to not want to be with him. So he had to silently, hidden from their view, that came from a play that he had heard about from Strasberg, where the actress on stage couldn't reveal her feelings or she'd be killed by the army that killed her child. And for months, they couldn't figure out how to act that moment until way, way later, one of the company of actors came to her and the director and said, look, and unrolled a Japanese silk screen of, what do you call it? What's a Japanese warrior called? Samurai.
Samurai. Yeah.
Of a samurai being stabbed with a sword who realizes at that moment that it's going to kill him.
Right, right.
And his mouth opens in this, and they called it the silent scream. That image is what she used in the play to express the mother's grief at what has happened to her son without alerting the army by her crying.
Interesting.
So that moment,
right,
it's fascinating what actors see in an art gallery they go to, or a dance recital they go to, or a museum. I've used paintings and pictures in my acting my whole life practically.
Wow. An
image that an artist has caught, I say, whoa, that's what I'm looking for my part.
Yeah.
That's method acting.
We speak to De Niro and all these famous actors that have these incredible roles that they play. But then you have comedians. Now, comedians, they're on stage. It's open mic night. They're telling jokes. But you got incredible performances by Robin Williams and Billy Crystal. And how do you? I mean, I understand you. We talked about the method, and they can reach back and bring that into any role, but as a comedian who is telling jokes, and I'm not saying all comedians, but certain comedians. I mean, Robin Williams was incredible. Jim Carrey. How do these people?
Yes.
With
an attitude, with a different. They take a personal thing. They talk about their families all the time. They take a personal thing that if you were in a confessional would come out very full of guilt and anguish and everything. But they take a satirical attitude. You look at a painting by somebody and it's satirical. Whatever that word means, it's mocking it a little bit. It's exaggerating a little bit to make it funny. But it's a very real thing. That's why it communicates to the people who like this comedian. Everybody has an incident, like an aunt with that. And De Niro had a notebook this thick with behaviors that he would see every once in a while with somebody on the subway or walking in the park or some little twist of the body that was interesting to him, and he marked it down in his notebook, knowing that someday he might use that movement for a part.
Yeah, amazing.
Is that method acting too? Yes, it is. It's not what you've experienced already, but it is something you might experience in the future.
Right. So you study it.
It's still coming from you.
Right.
Is the point.
Right. Right.
You're not just dramatizing it for everybody.
This is a perfect
unless that's
segue.
the part.
This is a perfect segue. For one of the movies that you've done, you were in Star Trek. I think it was Star Trek 4, In Search for Spock.
Three.
Oh, three.
Number three. In search of Spock.
It's the search for Spock. So, all right, we just talked about method acting. So, how'd you pull off an alien?
The first thing was they showed me a picture. I'm so sorry. I forget the director whom I loved. My memory is not so good these days. And he felt he owed me a part because he'd promised one and then had to renege. And he invited me into his office with Leonard Nimoy, who was directing the movie. And after a nice bunch of chatter, his name was Bruce. I can't remember. Sorry. He said, Leonard said, "Are you going to ask him or not?" And Bruce said, "Sorry." And he unrolled this thing on his desk, and it was a drawing of the alien. And as he unrolled it, he said, "Would you like to act him?" And my first response was, "Does he talk?" And he said, "Oh yeah, he's got a whole good scene." I said, "Sure, that's wild. I'd love to." Okay. So what did I do to work on the part? Well, there was a lot in the drawing of the ears being huge and things growing out of the head and the mouth. And I thought, first of all, how did this alien learn English? How could he even talk in English? I thought probably he was smart enough as a smuggler kind of a guy to have listened to old wire recordings and picked up the sound of it and then tried to make conversation. So I listened to a wire recorder of my family or friends, whatever, and started picking up the tones of voice that he might have. It seemed logical to me that would be a way he might have privately learned English. And then it was what kind of occupation does he have? It's a convincing, it's a cajoling, it's a con man kind of convincing. So I started putting that tone and attitude into my behavior, and I did it physically first with my body, my voice, and my attitude. And they liked it right away. They said, get him in makeup, and let's go.
So I have a clip. I have a clip that I want to show of you as the alien
please.
In Star Trek. Here we go.
What'll it be?
Altair water.
That's not your usual poison.
You expect one to order poison out of bars.
magical.
Got it.
To your planet, welcome.
I think that's my line, stranger.
Oh, forgive. I here am new. But you are known, being McCoy from Enterprise.
You have me at a disadvantage, sir.
My name not important. You seek I. Message received. Available ship stands by.
How much and how soon?
How soon is now. How much is where?
Somewhere in the Mutara sector.
Oh, Mutara restricted. Take permits many. Money more.
There aren't going to be any damn permits. How can you get a permit to do a damn illegal thing? Look, price you name, money I got.
Place you name, money I name, otherwise bargain no.
All right, damn it. It's Genesis. The name of the place we're going is Genesis.
Genesis?
Yes, Genesis. How can you be deaf with ears like that?
Genesis allowed is not. Is planet forbidden.
Look, my backwards friend. Genesis may be planet forbidden, but I'm damn well...
Sir, I'm sorry, but your voice is carrying. I don't think you want to be discussing this subject in public.
I'll discuss what I like. And who in the hell are you?
That was pretty well. So you have like a cult following of that movie. It's on the internet. People are talking about that role in the Star Trek film. I guess you made an impact, my friend.
Well, I was the only speaking alien in the movie.
There you go.
And just so you know, there were 40 other aliens in a scene behind us that got into a fight.
Oh.
And they didn't have enough film to cover it. And they didn't have enough replacement parts to do it again, so they cut the whole scene out of the movie.
Wow.
It was 5.5 hours of makeup, George.
That's crazy.
5.5. Do you notice I had 2 lips?
Yeah, I noticed
after
that.
5.
Yeah.
After 5.5 hours, they hadn't finished my mouth, and I couldn't stand it anymore. I said, I have to get out of this chair. I had to eat from a straw. It was hot. Oh, blah. And I said,
it's okay.
They said, we
You're
haven't
an
finished
alien.
your
It's
lip.
okay.
They said, we haven't finished the lip. And I said, who cares? I'll have 2 lips. What difference does it make with his head?
Exactly. You're an alien. It doesn't matter. Oh my God. But that was great. I mean, wow. A talking alien.
Yeah, it was very fun to see it.
Yeah.
It was a bitch to shoot it.
Yeah, I bet.
It was hot under this mask. Wow.
Yeah.
All these.
Yeah, all the
wow.
latex. Yeah.
When they took it off, it was like a river of water drained from my skin. My face didn't come back to its own shape for like 5 days.
Oh my God.
It was terrific. Hard work.
Yeah.
But I loved the result.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was great. You wonderful. Your stage work. As far as I have here, you were in Brooklyn Boy, and that's in the person in the middle there. That's Alan Arkin's son, Adam Arkin.
Adam Arkin. Yes.
Yeah. How was it working with Adam?
It was a pleasure. He was he had a very lovely, innocent quality about him too, and we had fun trying out the scene. We would improvise it, this way, a little more that way, a little more this way, a little more, and the director liked one of them for the take and did it. Mm-hmm. He was a total pleasure to work with.
Yeah, I mean, he comes from good stock, right? Alan.
Yeah, and he liked like his father. He liked to improvise and put a little attitude in there that gave him like that smile. That's not just a generous smile. That's a I'm looking at you, kid. I hope you better be looking at me.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Very good. Yeah, for that kind of part, he was wonderful.
You were you also wrote a short from the short novel by D.H. Lawrence, the play The Fox.
Holy mackerel! That shirt. Wait, look at that shirt. I think I'm still wearing it.
What shirt?
That was the same shirt with the stripe. I'm sorry. You're on my look. No, not that one. The next picture.
Okay.
No,
let's see.
Never mind. I'm sorry. It just struck me.
Oh,
I wrote
the shirt.
an adaptation.
That shirt.
There it is. Look.
Yeah.
Look at that shirt.
It might be the same one. It might be the same one.
Sorry.
No,
but
that's
we were talking about The Fox.
The Fox.
Play The Fox. Yeah. Yes.
So
I adapted it. Yes.
You adapted this, and you know, I haven't read this, but this is a pretty powerful play.
It is the last 5 minutes of this play. I've seen audience so tense that when the conclusion came, they gasped. Oh, whoa! It's the tensest. The tension builds so beautifully between these two women and this one guy. It's about power,
right?
It's about male. Is a male born to want to dominate a woman? Does a woman really want a man to dominate them? Can lovers ever be equals? Those are big issues today, as well as any time they were written. And they come out in this wilderness of North England and wintry weather with this fox hounding all their chickens. The one woman starts dreaming about the fox and biting her, and all sexual images all over the place. It's very potent. And D.H. Lawrence did a great job with the novella, but the end of his novella, he wills a tree to fall on one of the women. How do you do that on the stage?
Yeah, I don't know.
Luckily, as I was adapting it to work on as an actor, I remembered the rifle. They all use a rifle going out to protect the fox and everything. And I thought maybe I could find a way for him to use the rifle. Sure, I did. It's a shivering scene where the guy's ready to kill one of the women in order to get the other one. So it's potent. It's been done all over the world. I still get royalties when theaters are running, from colleges in particular, but it's been done in Germany, Berlin and Spain and all over.
When did you launch this play? When did this happen, this production?
I adapted it in 1956.
Oh, wow.
I was in the Actors Studio, and I was looking for acting material that was not usual, like not Arthur Miller or not Truman Capote. I wanted something special. And I remember this novel, the part of the guy was explosive in me when I first read the novella. And I thought, oh, I'm going to read this again. And it was pulverizing.
Wow.
But I thought I'll never be able to adapt it because you can't will a tree on stage to fall on somebody. That's internal. But the acting scenes, the scenes between the guy and each of the women, or both of them, were very intriguing. So I adapted some of it for me to act at the studio. And I did a scene with Geraldine Page at the studio on that material. She loved it and said, write some more. And I did, and I came up with the rifle solution, and in no time we had a Broadway production scheduled, which fell apart because the guy who was going to produce it was Richard Adler, Pajama Game. He saw us do it at the studio. The studio used to invite important people, prominent people to watch the scenes. And he asked to option it from me and blah, blah, blah. And I had to get the rights and blah. And then after a while, he said, Allan, I'm not the right person to produce your play. I keep giving you rewrites. Your writing is fine. I'm giving you my rewrites. And he dropped out, and I went into despair and never wrote anything again until years later.
You were also just to move on here. You were also with Jason Alexander in Broadway Bound. How did you get
Broadway Bound? That was so wonderful.
Yeah,
Wonderful play, Jason.
Well, Jason comes from the theater.
Terrific director.
Comes from the theater. Yeah.
What?
I'm saying Jason comes.
You
from
broke
the theater.
up. I'm so.
Jason comes from the theater.
Yeah, he was an actor working with us as actors. He gave us license and freedom to come in with ideas about it. It was wonderful. And the play was terrific, and had a great response at the Odyssey. And Neil Simon in that picture in the corner. Neil Simon came out of his sickbed to come see us, and nobody in the audience knew it was him.
Really?
And we introduced him at the end of the play, and the audience went wild.
Yeah, the signature
Neil Simon
cap
came to this 99-seat theater, and I think it's mainly because of Jason that he got him there. But it was thrilling play to be in, and a wonderful, wonderful cast. And Jason was a terrific director.
So I have a couple of clips, and the first one I'm going to show is Jason. I guess you guys were either doing a read or a rehearsal in a rehearsal space. And the video really shows, Jason, sharp as a tack and, directing you guys. So let's take a look at that, and then we'll come back to discuss it.
Kate, I love this. Good. Let's just do it. He'll be fun. Well,
The optometrist can't see very well.
do you want to shoot it real quick?
When you start the play, do whatever prep you want to get yourself onto the stage. It's all good. If you try and go in an emotional state, you may be battling an uphill battle. If you start your show and every scene with an absolute action and tension, it will take you right in.
The strange thing about my grandfather is he has totally no sense of humor. None. But everything he says, I think, is funny. Maybe because he doesn't mean it to be. If he tried to be funny, he wouldn't be.
If you think you know where a laugh is, just let the actor part of your brain go, I probably have to sustain something through here for a second.
You soiled your sheet and you didn't want to tell me what? I've been washing your bed sheets since I'm 10 years old.
Show me something, excite me. I want to see something I haven't seen before.
Are you willing to risk everything for some girl you might not even be interested in by next week?
I'll be interested in her the rest of my life.
Then go out with her then! Think of myself as you want. I'll write the sketch myself. I mean it! I'm not gonna blow this opportunity!
Never mind, I won't go see her.
I said I'll do it myself!
Don't do me any favors!
Great, guys.
He's really good. Jason.
He was very good.
Yeah,
very good director.
He's good.
For some material. So Neil Simon and he rang together.
Yeah. Just to, I want to show the clip now of, I guess, the play. It's just a clip of everybody. I guess it's the play. It's not a dress rehearsal. Let's take a look.
The Jack Benny Show is brought to you by Lucky Strike. It was written by Sam Parrott, Nate Monister, Milt Josephsberg, and Stanley and Eugene M. Jerome.
We got a job at CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
The table you eat on means everything. It's the one time in the day the whole family is together.
If we're gonna be good, we're gonna be the best. I can't think of anything else. Let's keep trying.
To me, comedy has to have a point. What was the point of this?
To make people laugh.
That's not a point. To make people aware. That's a point.
Something has happened to Pop these past few years. I know that. But you don't know his side. You don't know the whole story.
She says to me, why does that man hate me so much? What do I answer her, Papa?
You don't, because she's going to ask it again tomorrow.
If either one of us feels better now that I've told you all that, then shame on both of us.
Do you realize the gorgeous women we are going to meet today? Contrary to popular belief, everything in life doesn't come to a clear-cut conclusion.
The time period, I love that. That time and it was all about Broadway. And how long did that last? The play itself. How long was the run? Was it just a special night, or
You're talking about the original Broadway run?
no? The one that Jason.
Or that
yeah.
at the Odyssey Theater?
Yeah.
Well, they have a subscription of series of plays, so it can only run a certain amount of time.
Oh, okay.
I think it was 6 weeks or maybe 8 weeks, and then you got to close it to bring the next one in.
Right.
It could have gone on running. Absolutely. Yeah. It was a big hit at the Odyssey Theater.
Yeah, sure.
And audiences loved it.
Getting back to film. So there was a movie called Bad Words that you were part of.
Yeah. Jason Bateman directed it and acted in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was also a very good director.
Yeah. I mean, I remember this movie, and your part in the movie, you played the judge, and the interaction.
One of the judges. One
of the judges.
Yes.
But the interaction that you had with Jason Bateman is pretty funny, and I do have a clip here of that. Check it out.
Mr. Trilby, I won't allow it. You're not eligible in any fashion, way, shape, or manner.
Speller must not have passed beyond the 8th grade on or before February 1st.
That may be, but...
Sir, I can go on.
Having the nature or qualities of oil or unctuous, fawning, smarmy.
Does it contain the Latin root oleae, meaning olive?
It does.
Any other pronunciations?
No.
Oleaginous. Oleaginous.
That is correct.
We got it.
I absquatulate.
ABSQUATULATE.
That's
correct.
Correct.
That was good. I mean, it just shows that you're very versatile, and you really take the role on, and you really getting back to the method, as a judge would be, in that situation. Very good, Allan.
Thank you.
I have a couple of others here. You were in Conviction. You played. I think a judge in that one, right? That was a
Law and Order Conviction.
Law and Order Conviction.
It was one of the Law and Order series, yeah.
Yeah, and let's see a clip of that.
In 1974, a woman's statement that she was raped was not enough to convict. A woman under oath could testify she was pulled into a dark alley and brutally raped at gunpoint.
Are you a Yankee or a Met fan?
Yankee.
Now, what if I'm umping a Yankee game, and in the 5th inning I toss out the DH rule? Is that fair?
I understand the parallel, Your Honor, but baseball...
Is it fair to change the rules of a game after it started?
In this case, absolutely.
Oh. Well, whether or not you agree, Mr. Desmond, I'm bound by the Constitution. So this trial will proceed under the law that was applicable in 1974.
Wow. That... TV series, films, stage performances, you've done it all. But there's one special person that I want to put up on the screen now that really has brought us together, actually. And I had her on the show recently, Eileen Gruba, and she's a special lady. She's a special lady.
You bet she is.
Yeah.
And the other lady with her, Elaine Taylor, is also a very, very unusual, terrific lady.
Yeah.
They're friends.
Oh, where was that taken? Was that like an event or something, or?
Yeah, it was it was something about something for me, but I don't remember what it was.
You were helping Eileen with a project that she was doing. It was a short film, Sleeping with the Bear. I think you were brought on as a consultant for that film.
Not professionally. I just loved helping Eileen.
Yeah.
I don't remember many details about that. I just thought she was terrific, wonderful actress who sometimes needed help on a part.
She is.
So I was happy to help coach her. I kind of coached her about some things for the part. Hi, Eileen. Are you there? Are you on the air or something? No.
I don't know.
Well,
if she's,
hi anyway.
Yeah, no, I'm sure she'll be watching. But she's quite a lady, a very powerful woman. In her, in just her fight for her causes and all that, and
you betcha.
She's special. She really is special.
And her talent, and here again, her talent as an actress.
Yeah.
I have to say, yes, she was talented, but there's certain areas that helped in this part or that part.
And
we all need a little bit of grooming.
Right.
What?
But it brings us back to the method, because she draws from, her past and her inflictions and all that.
Yeah.
And it just makes her a better actress. And she's real good and everything. And she's been doing so well with her own projects and her own films, winning awards and all that. It's incredible. So wish her all the luck.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Really terrific career she's been having. Yes.
Yeah. And Allan, you're terrific for stopping by Buzz Talk Live, and I really appreciate you stopping in and having for having me interview you and your career, and putting a spotlight on it, because you're just so rich in the knowledge that you have, the people that you touch, like Eileen, and I thank you for that. I really do.
Thank you. My life has been very, very gratifying. Thank you.
Yes, it has. Thank you again for joining me tonight. And hey, I wish you all the luck with the Zoom calls. Keep that going, right? You got to keep that going.
Yes, as long as I can. Yes.
Yeah. All
right. Thank you. I enjoyed the interview very much. I wish you well in your continuing people, and I will look forward to following some of them.
Oh, thank you very much, Allan. Appreciate it.
And stay safe, please. I've been vaccinated twice. I wish you and everybody I know the same.
Awesome. All right. Take care now.
You too.
All righty.
Bye.
Bye. He was great. Really a teacher that has taught so many. Incredible, a legendary, an actor and teacher. And I wish him all the luck and continued success at 92. Wish I can be looking like that at 92. Hey, so stick with me on next Thursday with my guest, actor, producer, and TV host Danny Zano is going to be on the show at 8:30 p.m. on Thursday night. So tune in for that one. That's going to be he's Zano, all right. He's zany. So check in on Thursday night, next Thursday at 8:30 p.m. here on the Buzz Talk Live show. That's it for tonight, folks. Thanks again for tuning in. Thanks again for the follows on YouTube and all my social media. I really appreciate that. Keep that going. And until we meet again, good night, America.